Hi and welcome to Rose Red Homestead, where today we're going to be just a little bit serious because conditions over the whole globe are very serious right now. We're all deeply concerned about the situation in the Middle East. Many of us have friends or loved ones who are still over there and can't get out. We fall into that category. We have family members that are trying to get out and can't yet. They're having to shelter at home. And so this is a very difficult time in our history. You know, we have spent the past 7 years talking about three major things: emergency preparedness, food security, and self-reliance. And it is all for us all to be prepared for the uncertain times in which we live. Well, our uncertain times just got a whole lot more uncertain. Now, we have on our channel, we've been going now for 7 years. We're going to be celebrating our anniversary later this week, and hope you tune in for that one. But we have over 800 videos on our YouTube channel under the three categories that I just mentioned. And if you are looking for something specific, it's a little bit difficult to locate exactly what you might be looking for. So as I got into bed last night, ready to go to sleep, my eyes were wide open. I could not get to sleep because I was thinking, what can we do? What can we do with a video that will help people feel some comfort, some sense of peace, some sense of control over their own lives? What might we be able to do to help out the situation? And my brain just was on fire, and I got up and went to my computer and spent the next hour until the wee hours writing down some ideas. And the result of that is this video today, which we are inserting into our schedule. We're scheduled about 2 weeks out with videos, so I just bumped everything down, and we're putting this one in place because I think it is very important to think about a few things. So we're going to talk today about 5 imperatives for surviving now, in the here and now today, and then going forward. While we don't really believe that there's going to be fighting right here on our home turf, the impacts that most likely we are going to feel are the secondary results of what is going on in the Middle East. And we already are feeling some of those things with the increase of a barrel of oil. What is it increased, Jim? You told me this morning, was it a third? By a third?
Yeah, over $90 a barrel in the past, week or something like that.
So we know that fuel prices are already going up. It's going to impact food prices. It's going to impact just a whole lot of things that are yet to be completely obvious in our day-to-day living. This is me thinking pretty fast. Sitting down last night, I just had these flood of ideas that came into my mind. And I think there are 5 pretty important things that we need to just go over and ensure that we are doing the best we can in these areas. Now, this video is not meant to have anyone feel a great, huge burden of things that they have not yet completed in terms of emergency preparedness. Don't go there. Don't do that. Don't compare yourself with anybody else. You are you, and you are doing the very best that you can. And so these are ideas to help you focus. Sometimes when we get in difficult situations, our brains just tend to fire. And at least that's what happens to me. Did I do this? Did I do that? Did I? And so I thought what we need to do is sort of focus in on 5 very important, even imperative things that we can start thinking about and working on. So all of these. Now today I'm not going to talk about how to do those because we have 800 videos that do the how-to part of this. And so what I have done is I have prepared a little handout. It's 2 pages, front and back. And with these 5 things, what I have done, this becomes sort of a link, a map to some of the more important things on our website and in our YouTube channel that will help you. If you need help in a certain area, then I have links for you here. So the first thing that we're going to talk about as an imperative is water. And this is the most important thing that we need to have secured in our homes is emergency water. FEMA says 1 gallon per person per day for a total of 3 days. We think that's a very huge estimation of what is needed. And so in our personal lives, we've made the decision to multiply that by a factor of, I don't know how much, but we have much more than that water stored. So we're doing the best we can. And we have links. I have one book that is in our bookstore that I have listed here that is called Safe Water. And then I have 4 videos that you can watch, and those are free, that will help you with water if needed. Now, before you rush out and buy anything from our bookstore, because later in the week, I believe our video is coming out on, I think it's Friday, so it would be Friday and Saturday. We're going to be having a sale in our bookstore. So you can certainly purchase things now if you're in a big hurry to do that. But if you can afford to wait until later in the week, we will be having a sale on everything in our bookstore. And so this video will also help you decide which of those books you might want to add to your collection if you have not already purchased those. And just to help everyone understand, our books are all PDF format. You download the file, and please, when you download it, make sure that don't just click on the link in the email, but download it and put the file on your desktop so that you can access it later and it doesn't just go away. And that way you will have the electronic copy. Some of our books have links to other things, and you will need to be on your computer or on your electronic device in order for those links to be live so that it will take you wherever else we need to go. So the first thing is water. The second thing is 60 days of food. And this you will recognize as being our level 1 food storage, where we integrate our freezer, our refrigerator, and our pantry. And we have dozens and dozens of recipes that show meals and dishes that you can make using food storage ingredients. But we also have a couple of pretty important books. The main book, the first book that we really started on, was co-authored by my sister Cindy, who is brilliant when it comes to organizing and food storage. And she and I, over the course of 1 year, wrote a book that's 144 pages, and it is called A Comfortable Food Storage Plan for Uncomfortable Times. And this starts with 2 weeks of recipes. And you can use our recipes that we provide in the book, or you can substitute your own. But if you repeat those recipes every 2 weeks for 26 times and have the ingredients for those, then you will have a year's supply. But it starts with a 2-week organization plan for meals. So you can check out that book on the sale. It's our most expensive book, but it's 144 pages, and it took us a year to write. So that's why that is more expensive. Another one that will help you is Advanced Prep for 60 Days of Meals, integrating your freezer, refrigerator, and pantry, and 40 plus recipes using food storage ingredients. And that one was co-authored by my 3 sisters. So there are lots of helps there for you to make sure that you have 60 days of food, either complete meals, frozen, or with all of the ingredients there. So it's either the meals themselves or it's ingredients to make the meals for 60 days. Now, don't feel daunted by this. If you don't have 60 days worth of meals right now, shorten that. Start wherever you are, and don't feel like you need to run out and buy a whole lot of things, because I imagine that we are all more prepared than we think we are. Because when we kind of get in a panicky mode, everything seems that, oh, I'm not ready. But in reality, you have already in your cupboards, in your pantry, in your food storage, a whole lot of things that you will be able to work with in ensuring that you have at least 60 days. And then once you hit that 60 days mark, keep on planning and purchasing and getting ready for more and more in the future to be ready with enough food. So the next thing is we need to prep for off-grid living. It could be very likely that we will face long-term grid down situations. Well, what do we need to do to be ready for those? So on our list, I have 3 main things. Backup power and fuel, and we have a video how we use our Bluetti power stations, and then how we power our freezers off grid. And then a suggestion to be sure that we top off our propane tanks, our gasoline containers. If we keep, like we have extra gas cans for several things that we have here, for Max for one thing, and for running our blower and other power tools, to keep those topped off, because today's prices are going to be less than tomorrow's prices, it seems, for sure. And the second thing is cooking equipment. We have to be prepared to cook off grid. And we have done so many videos on that. I can't possibly list all of the videos on 2 sheets of paper. But what I do have listed for that is Dutch oven cooking when it counts. We just recently published that book. And that book has lots of recipes and equipment and fuel and everything needed for off-grid cooking in Dutch ovens. And then I have another couple of videos as well that will go right along with that. And think redundancy systems. We taught, when we were doing that book, we shared some of the recipes as videos as we were preparing that book, and mentioned that we now believe that the most basic thing that you can have for off-grid cooking is one of those, a black cast iron Dutch oven in whatever size that would suit your family the best. We like the 10-inch and the 12-inch. Those are the ones that we use the most for this. And then, of course, you would need to store charcoal or have wood pile enough to where you could use the coals from a wood fire to do that. So just think about ways that you can start gathering things from your own property and your own garage and your own storage areas. And then the last thing is heating and lighting and cooling options. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 videos there that might help you as you think about how to stay cool in the summertime, how to stay warm in the wintertime, and other things about lighting that might be advantageous for you. The 4th imperative is to fortify our homes. Now, I don't mean by this that we think that there are going to be marauding gangs of people or soldiers or whatever that are going to attack us. That's not the idea here. The idea is our regular lives may be changing. We're still going to be at home. We're still going to have the same house, the same apartment, whatever living conditions that we have, most likely we'll have for the duration of this. And so what do we need to do to strengthen our home to make it more comfortable and livable for us as we face these uncertain times? And so I have here several things. Secure windows and doors, create a safe room, and we do have a video for that. And then what equipment do we need to have in our home to help us fortify living in our home? First aid and medications, and then personal hygiene items. And there are a whole lot of other things that as you get going on this, your own brain is going to be kicking in with some things that are relative to what your situation and circumstances are. So fortifying our home. And it can also include things like making sure that we have the proper insulation and the gaskets around our doors. That's not the right name for it, but to keep the weather out of our homes and that sort of thing. And then I have a number of videos there for that. Now, this last item is one that we haven't done any videos on. I haven't even written about it. And maybe you've picked up on it just a little bit from the lifestyle that I lead and the way that I teach. But I just want to tell you a little story. A number of years ago, a lot of years ago, I was enduring a very dark time in my life. My family had fractured, and I was left with a totally unfamiliar living situation where I was raising children on my own, my 6 children, and having to cope with things that I never felt I would ever have to do alone. But it happened. And so as I was going through those things and figuring out my new life, my friends would notice and say things to me like, "Oh, Pam, you're such a survivor. It's good to see you with a smile on your face. You're strong enough that you can survive this." And survive, survive, survive was the word that was used over and over again. Now, when I think of survive, I think of barely hanging on by my fingernails, or on a raft in the middle of the ocean, running out of water and too much sun and sharks circling. But making it through somehow. That's what I thought when people would say survive. I didn't like the picture that it put in my mind, because I wanted to do more than survive. I wanted to triumph over my situation. And I began to realize that inside me, and this is no secret because you all know it, inside all of us is that special space. It's our core. It is our sovereign space in our heart, in our mind, wherever we want to call it, where it's home, where we hold our most sacred feelings about who we are and what we can accomplish. And so I think that we need to ensure that that sovereign place within us has plenty of happiness, plenty of joy, because these times are kind of dark. Not kind of, they're dark times that we're having to live through right now. There are going to be many people who are discouraged, and perhaps we can be a shining light because that sovereign place within us holds some joy. And that is what our last one is: create and share joy. And I think that that is an important thing. It was an important thing for me during those dark years. I could not operate thinking only of the difficult things. I had to have something that refreshed me, that refreshed my heart and soul. And so that's what I'm trying to get across here, is the imperative number 5, which is to create and share joy. I'm going to share some of the things that helped me and that we did with my family. Music. Listening to good, uplifting music helped. I'm a pianist. I studied piano for a really long time. Early in my married life, I began to play the organ at church just a little bit. I'm self-taught. And I have not played the organ for almost 50 years. Recently, I felt very impressed that I needed to re-up those skills. And so I began going over to our church where there is an organ that I can practice on. And I began renewing those skills and moving forward on those skills. I can't tell you how much joy that has brought to my life right now, in the now. It is helping me not focus on all the negative stuff that the news brings. I don't even listen to the news anymore. It doesn't do any good because all that's there is pretty negative. But I need to feed my soul with joy. And so playing hymns, playing music on that organ and increasing my skills has really helped me right now. And music helped me back then in those other years too. So another thing is that I have down here is family singing. When I used to travel around with my children, taking them to soccer games or to music lessons or to whatever, we lived a ways from those destinations. And so we would spend our time in the car singing songs that we all knew, or practicing multiplication tables, or naming all 50 states and their capitals, just things like that engaged our thinking. Of course, now everybody has a phone that they play games on, and it makes it very different life. but anything that we can do to build that joy within us and share it with others is really good. Another thing I have is nature. Music heals me, nature heals me, walking in nature, hiking, and you can also do collections. I just walked around the yard and collected leaves once to see all the different kinds of trees that we had. I've collected rocks. I've taken my children around the yard and we have looked for signs of spring in late February and early March, and we photographed those and we made posters of those things. We can create original poetry. Jim is a closet poet, and he's always working on his poetry. Or prose, creating original poetry in prose, something that is creative, something that fills our sovereign space with this sense of, I am here and I am doing just fine, and nobody can enter my sovereign space and make me feel any different. Then we can grow a garden and share some of the produce with friends and neighbors. We can help lift and support friends and neighbors and others. When we give of ourselves, that is one of the most effective ways of building joy within our own hearts. And then we can advance our own knowledge and skills in a hobby, or like I'm practicing the organ, that's music, but it's also a hobby of mine. I love music. And so that's working to help me feel joyful. We can work on our talents or increase our knowledge of a content area that we've always wanted to study. So these things that are productive and uplifting are what are going to keep us to where we can maintain a sense of optimism through all of this. Now, the last thing I just want to mention is at the bottom of this handout, and the link for this handout is going to be at the very bottom on the second page, is this book, which we published a little while ago, several months ago, and it is called Preparedness Basics for Uncertain Times. And this is an inexpensive, one of our more inexpensive books, and it addresses water, food, if the grid goes down, non-food items to store, your home is your fortress, and when a bug-out emergency happens, sanitation. And so it sort of is incorporating all of these topics. Now, I want to just tell you one thing about this handout. I put this together quite hastily in the middle of the night, and I've worked on it several hours today. I'm not sure I'm totally satisfied with it. So it is going to, the title of the download is going to be 5 Imperatives for Surviving Now, and then it is going to have a lowercase v.1. And this means right here, version 1. That's what this is that I'm holding in my hand, version 1. So it will be there for you to download, but check back in a few days, because it is very likely that I'm going to add some things as they come into my mind. I really like to have longer to think about things, but Jim and I both felt the sense of urgency of getting this video out to give you a roadmap of things that you can start working on and building confidence, gaining knowledge, and feeling a sense of greater preparation. So as I upload a newer version, this 1 might change to a 2, version 2. And if it keeps on going, there might even be a virgin, not a virgin.
Probably not.
There might even be a version 3 before we're done. But in any case, will you just make sure that you know that this is just, it's like an index to help you locate information that you might need. It's not intended to make you feel like how unprepared you are, because we all feel unprepared regardless of how prepared we are. But for heaven's sake, we need to stop thinking about that, stop thinking about, oh, I wish I could have, and thinking about going forward, starting where we are and improving in slow steps, day by day by day, week by week, month by month, working on what we can. We can't do everything at once, but we can do a little at a time, and that will build strength in the end. So thank you so much for being with us today, and please put your comments, uplifting, heartfelt comments, things that, ideas that you may have that would work within these things, or even newer ideas of how you feel that you may want to be prepared. And I've not talked to you about documents, I've not talked about finances and all of those kinds of things, your important documents and a lot of other things. One of the things that I was, as I was looking for information on Create and Share Joy, I did an internet search, and most of the lists that were posted there about feeling joy started with, buy a good joke book. Well, I'm sorry. I like jokes as much as the next person does. But what I'm talking about is not laughter over a joke. What I'm talking about is the joy that comes and resides in that sovereign place within us that helps us stay centered and will help us maintain optimism. So it's not a joke book. But how do you stay positive-minded? That would be a great thing for everyone to share with us if you have some things that you do that will help keep you in a positive frame of mind. So thanks so much. We're in this together, and let us know if you think there are more things that we need to come forward with to help our community out. We are a wonderful learning community, and we're here for each other. So we will be back very soon.